Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of his ship and watched the stars through the large window. He had been captain of the Horizon's Edge for 3 years now. His crew of 45 people trusted him completely. They had visited 12 different planets together and made contact with 6 new alien species. None of those meetings had been easy, but Jake always found a way to make peace. The ship was flying through empty space near the edge of human territory. They were heading home to Earth after a long mission to map new star systems. Jake was thinking about seeing his family again when the communication officer called out to him. "Captain Morrison, we are getting a strange signal," said Lieutenant Amy Chen from her station. "It is not coming from any human ship or colony." Jake walked over to her console and looked at the readings. The signal was powerful and came from somewhere far away. It was unlike anything they had seen before. The pattern was too organized to be natural, but too alien to be human. "Can you decode it?" Jake asked. Amy worked on her computer for several minutes. Her face showed confusion and then surprise. "Sir, this message is in perfect English. Someone has been studying our language for a very long time." "Put it on the main screen," Jake ordered. The bridge became quiet as a voice filled the room. It was clearly not human, but spoke English without any mistakes. The voice belonged to a female and sounded both powerful and desperate. "This message is for the humans who call themselves explorers and protectors. We are the Zeltharian Empire. We have watched your species for many years. We have studied your ways and your strengths. We need your help, and we are willing to pay any price for it." Jake looked around at his crew. Everyone was staring at the screen with wide eyes. They had never heard of the Zeltharian Empire before. The voice continued, "Our species is dying. A great sickness has taken the ability to create children from our males. Our scientists have studied this problem for 50 years. They have found only one solution. Human males carry something in their bodies that can save us. We ask for a meeting between our peoples." The message paused for a moment, and then the voice became more personal. "Captain Jake Morrison of the ship Horizon's Edge, we have chosen you to speak for your people. We have studied your records and know you are a man of honor. Please come to the coordinates we are sending. Bring representatives of your government if you wish. We promise you will not be harmed." The transmission ended, and the bridge stayed silent for a long time. Jake felt the weight of the moment. This was bigger than anything humans had ever faced. An alien empire was asking for help, and they had specifically chosen him. "Amy, send a message to Earth Command immediately. Tell them everything we just heard. Ask for instructions," Jake said. "Already working on it, sir," Amy replied. Dr. Lisa Park, the ship's medical officer, came up to Jake. She was a smart woman who had studied alien biology for most of her career. "Captain, if what they said is true, this could change everything. An empire that has been watching us for years must be very advanced." Jake nodded. He was thinking the same thing. "What do you think about their medical problem?" "It sounds possible," Lisa said. "We have seen genetic diseases that affect only males and other species. If they have been isolated for a long time, they might have lost genetic diversity. Humans have always been good at surviving because we are different from each other." Engineer Ryan Blake joined the conversation. He was young but very smart about technology. "Sir, the signal came from a direction where our long-range sensors show no stars or planets. Either they are very far away, or they have technology we cannot understand." 3 hours later, Earth Command sent their reply. The message was short and clear. "Captain Morrison, you are authorized to make contact. Take all precautions. The future of humanity may depend on your decisions." Jake called his senior officers to the meeting room. Amy, Lisa, Ryan, and Security Chief Tom Garcia sat around the table. These were the people he trusted most. "Earth Command wants us to go," Jake told them, "but I will not order anyone to come with me. This mission could be dangerous. Tom Garcia spoke first. Captain, we all joined this ship to explore and make contact with aliens. This is what we trained for. Amy nodded. Sir, you have never let us down. If you think we should go, then we go. Lisa looked worried, but determined. The medical knowledge we could learn might help millions of people. We have to try. Ryan smiled. Besides, how often does someone get to meet an alien empire? Jake felt proud of his crew. These people were willing to risk everything for the chance to help others and learn something new. Then we go. Set course for the coordinates they sent. The Horizon's Edge changed direction and began flying toward the unknown. Jake stood on the bridge and watched the stars change position as they accelerated. He thought about the voice in the message. The female who spoke had sounded desperate, but also hopeful. She had called him by name and said they had studied his records. What kind of empire could watch humans for years without being detected? What technology did they have? Most importantly, why had they chosen him specifically? Jake had made successful contact with aliens before, but so had many other captains, as the ship flew through space. Jake wondered if he was leading his crew toward humanity's greatest opportunity or its greatest danger. The Zeltharian Empire needed human help to survive, but empires that were desperate could be very dangerous. The journey would take 2 days at maximum speed. Jake spent the time preparing his crew and thinking about what they might find. He had no idea that his life was about to change forever, or that the fate of 2 entire species would soon rest in his hands. 2 days later, Jake Morrison could not believe what he was seeing through the bridge windows. Where empty space should have been, a massive structure appeared, as if by magic. The Zeltharian ship was bigger than any human city. It stretched for miles in every direction and gleamed like silver in the starlight. How did they hide something that big? Ryan Blake asked with his mouth open. Dr. Lisa Park checked her instruments twice. Captain, my sensors show the ship just appeared. 1 second there was nothing, and the next second it was there. Amy Chen was working frantically at her station. Sir, they are sending another message. The same female voice from before filled the bridge. Captain Morrison, welcome to the edge of Zeltharian space. I am Princess Lyra Voss, daughter of Emperor Kane and heir to the throne. Please bring yourself and 5 of your people aboard our ship. We have much to discuss. Jake felt his stomach tighten. A princess of an alien empire wanted to meet with him. This was far beyond anything he had trained for. Understood, Princess Lyra. We are honored to meet with you. A small shuttle appeared next to the horizon's edge. It was sleek and beautiful, made of the same silver material as the larger ship. Jake gathered his team quickly. Amy, Lisa, Ryan, Tom Garcia, and Communications Officer Ben Clark would come. With him, the shuttle brought them aboard the Zeltharian ship through a docking bay that could have held 10 human vessels. Jake stepped out first and got his first look at the aliens, who had summoned him across the galaxy. The Zeltharians were tall and graceful, about 7 feet in height. Their skin was pale blue and seemed to glow softly. They had large eyes that changed color and long white hair that moved as if it was underwater. They wore flowing robes that sparkled with tiny lights. Princess Lyra stood waiting for them. She was the most beautiful being Jake had ever seen. Her eyes were currently a deep purple color, and her hair fell to her waist like liquid starlight. When she spoke, her voice was like music. Captain Morrison, your reputation does not capture your true character. I can see why your people follow you. Jake tried to stay professional, even though he felt overwhelmed. Princess Lyra, we are honored to meet you. My people are ready to listen to your proposal. The princess led them through corridors that seemed to be made of living crystal. Lights moved through the walls like flowing water. Plants that looked like they were made of glass grew from the ceiling and floor. Everything was more beautiful and advanced than anything humans had ever built. Your ship is incredible, Lisa whispered to Jake. This is just a small diplomatic vessel, Princess Lyra said, somehow hearing the quiet comment. Wait until you see our cities. They entered a large room where other Zeltharians were waiting. Jake noticed something strange. Immediately, all the Zeltharians he could see were female. There were no males anywhere. Princess Lyra saw him looking around. You have noticed the absence of our males. That is the heart of our problem, Captain Morrison. She gestured to a large window that showed stars and empty space. Our empire controls 200 star systems. We have cities that float in clouds, and weapons that can destroy moons. We have lived for thousands of years without fear of any enemy. But now we face extinction. An older Zeltharian woman stepped forward. She wore more elaborate robes, and her eyes were golden. I am High Scientist Veracos. 20 years ago, a genetic plague began affecting our males. It spreads slowly, but it cannot be stopped. It takes away their ability to father children. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. How many of your males are affected? All of them, Princess Lyra said quietly. Every male in our empire is now sterile. In 50 years, there will be no more Zeltharians. Lisa stepped forward. What makes you think humans can help? High Scientist Vera activated a device that projected images into the air. We have been studying many species for decades. Most are genetically incompatible with us, but humans are different. Your genetic structure is remarkably similar to ours. The images showed DNA patterns and complex medical data. Jake could not understand most of it, but he could see the similarities Vera was pointing out. We have run thousands of computer simulations, Vera continued. Human genetic material can not only help our females reproduce, it can also cure the plague that affects our males. Princess Lyra moved closer to Jake. This is why we chose you specifically, Captain Morrison. We have studied the genetic records of many human males. Yours shows the greatest compatibility with our species. Jake felt like the weight of the universe was pressing down on him. What exactly are you asking us to do? The princess looked directly into his eyes. We need human males to mate with our females. We need their genetic material to save our species. In return, we offer humanity protection from hostile aliens and access to our technology. Ben Clark spoke up for the first time. You want us to become breeding stock for your empire. Princess Lyra's eyes flashed with anger for a moment, then returned to their calm purple. We prefer to think of it as a partnership that benefits both species. Tom Garcia had been quietly observing the Zeltharians. How many human males would you need? We have calculated that 5,000 human males could save our entire species, High Scientist Vera said. They would live lives of luxury beyond anything possible on Earth. Jake looked at his crew. He could see the shock and confusion on their faces. This was not what any of them had expected when they answered the alien transmission. We need time to discuss this with our government, Jake said carefully. Princess Lyra nodded. Of course. But time is something we do not have much of. Every day we delay, more of our people lose hope. She led them to quarters that were more beautiful than any palace on Earth. The rooms had walls that showed moving pictures of alien landscapes and furniture that adjusted itself to their bodies. Rest tonight, the princess said. Tomorrow, I will show you what we can offer humanity in return for your help. After the Zeltharians left, Jake gathered his team in his quarters. Everyone looked overwhelmed by what they had learned. This is insane, Amy said. They want to turn human men into breeding partners for their entire species. Lisa was studying data on a tablet. From a medical standpoint, what they are saying makes sense. Genetic diversity is crucial for species survival. Ryan looked worried. But what about human freedom of choice? They are talking about thousands of men. Tom Garcia was more practical. We need to think about what happens if we say no. They have technology that is centuries ahead of ours. Jake stared out the window at the massive Zeltharian ship. He thought about Princess Lyra and the desperation he had seen in her eyes. Her entire species was dying, and they believed humans were their only hope. But he also thought about the 5,000 human men they wanted. Would they be treated well, or would they become prisoners in a golden cage? And what would happen to humanity if they refused to help an empire that could destroy them easily? Tomorrow he would see what the Zeltharians were offering in return. Then he would have to make the most important decision of his life. Jake Morrison woke up in a bed that felt like sleeping on a cloud. The Zeltharian quarters were more comfortable than anything he had ever experienced. But comfort could not ease the weight of the decision he faced. Princess Lyra arrived early to escort them to her home world. "Today you will see Zelthara Prime, the heart of our empire," she said. "Then you will understand what we can offer humanity." The journey through hyperspace took only minutes. When they emerged, Jake saw a planet that looked like a jewel floating in space. 3 moons orbited the world, and massive space stations hung in the sky, like silver rings as their shuttle descended through the atmosphere. Jake saw cities that defied everything he knew about engineering. Towers of crystal reached into the clouds, while gardens of impossible beauty covered floating platforms. Vehicles moved through the air without making any sound. "Your cities are incredible," Jake said to Princess Lyra, who sat beside him. "We have had thousands of years to perfect our technology," she replied. "But what good is a beautiful world if there will be no one left to enjoy it?" They landed at the royal palace, a structure that seemed to be carved from a single massive diamond. Princess Lyra led them through halls where the walls showed moving pictures of Zeltharian history. "Your people have achieved so much," Dr. Lisa Park said, as she stared at images of scientific discoveries and artistic masterpieces. "Yes, but at a cost," Princess Lyra said sadly. "We became so focused on perfection that we forgot the importance of diversity. Our long lives in advanced medicine eliminated natural selection. We all became too similar." They entered a laboratory where High Scientist Vera was waiting with other Zeltharian researchers. Holographic displays showed complex genetic data and medical records. "Captain Morrison, let me explain why humans are so special," Vera said. "Your species has maintained incredible genetic diversity despite your technological advancement. You still face diseases, conflicts, and environmental challenges that force you to adapt." Jake studied the data, even though much of it was beyond his understanding. "You are saying that our problems make us stronger?" "Exactly," Vera said with excitement. "Humans have immune systems that are far superior to ours. Your ability to adapt and survive is remarkable. When we combine Zeltharian longevity with human adaptability, we create something better than either species alone." Princess Lyra activated another display. "We have already begun preliminary tests with volunteers from other human colonies. The results are promising." Jake felt a shock run through him. "You already have human volunteers?" 6 men from the outer colonies agreed to participate 3 months ago, the princess said. "They're all healthy and happy. Their Zeltharian partners are already showing signs of successful pregnancies." Amy Chen looked uncomfortable. "Where are these men now?" "Living in luxury on our agricultural worlds," Princess Lyra said. "Would you like to meet them?" She led them to a communication room where a large screen showed a beautiful garden world. 6 human men appeared on the screen, all looking healthy and content. They were accompanied by Zeltharian females, who seemed devoted to them. "Jake, is that you?" one of the men called out. Jake recognized him as Captain Steve Ross from the colony ship New Hope. "Steve, what are you doing there?" Jake asked. Steve smiled broadly. "Living better than any human in history, my friend. These people treat us like kings. The technology here is amazing and the food is incredible." Another volunteer, a young engineer named Paul Dixon, spoke up. "Captain Morrison, I know this seems strange, but they really do need our help. And in return, they are sharing knowledge that will advance human civilization by centuries." Jake felt confused. The volunteers seemed genuinely happy, but something about the situation still bothered him. Are you free to leave if you want to? Why would we want to leave? Steve laughed. But yes, we can visit other worlds in the Empire whenever we wish. After the communication ended, Princess Lyra took Jake aside privately. I can see you have doubts, Captain Morrison. That shows wisdom. They walked onto a balcony that overlooked the capital city. Millions of Zeltharians moved through the streets below, all of them female. The sight was both beautiful and deeply sad. Tell me honestly, Jake said. Are we really partners in this arrangement, or are we just valuable breeding animals to you? Princess Lyra was quiet for a long moment. When this crisis began, many in our government saw humans as nothing more than a biological resource. But I have studied your species for years. I have read your literature, watched your history, learned about your concepts of love and sacrifice. She turned to face him directly. I chose you specifically because I believe you can help us find a better way, not just breeding arrangements, but true partnership between our species. Jake felt something strange happening. Despite the impossible situation, he was beginning to trust this alien princess. What do you mean by true partnership? Imagine human creativity combined with Zeltharian technology, she said with growing excitement. Imagine human courage guided by Zeltharian wisdom. Our species could explore the galaxy together as equals. But first, we need to solve your reproductive crisis, Jake said. Yes, but not through force or manipulation. Through genuine cooperation and mutual respect. They returned to the others, who had been learning about Zeltharian science and culture. Ryan Blake was particularly excited about their technology. Captain, their computers are alive, Ryan said. They grow them instead of building them, and their energy systems could power all of Earth for 1,000 years without any pollution. Dr. Lisa Park had been studying medical data. Jake, what? They are offering could eliminate most human diseases. Their cellular repair technology could extend human lifespans by centuries. Tom Garcia had been talking to Zeltharian security forces. Sir, they have shown me their defensive capabilities. There are hostile alien species in this galaxy that would destroy humanity without a second thought. We need their protection. Jake absorbed all this information while thinking about the larger implications. The Zeltharians were offering humanity incredible advances in technology, medicine, and protection. In return, they wanted genetic material to save their species. High Scientist Vera approached him with a new proposal. Captain Morrison, we have been developing a new approach based on Princess Lyra's suggestions. Instead of asking for thousands of men immediately, we would like to start with a small group, perhaps 50 volunteers, who would spend 1 year here. And after that year, Jake asked, they would be free to return to human space or stay as they choose, but we hope they would help us recruit others and establish permanent settlements where both species can live together. Princess Lyra added, we would also send Zeltharian advisors to Earth to share our technology and help humanity prepare for the challenges of galactic civilization. Jake realized that this was about much more than solving a reproductive crisis. This was about the future of humanity itself. Earth was a small planet in a dangerous galaxy. Alliance with the Zeltharian Empire could protect humanity and advance their civilization by thousands of years, but it would also mean fundamental changes to human society. Men who joined the program would be living among aliens and helping to create a new hybrid species. It was the biggest decision in human history. I need to return to Earth and discuss this with my government, Jake said finally. Princess Lyra nodded. Of course, but I have one more request. She looked directly into his eyes with an intensity that made Jake feel like she could see into his soul. I would like you to consider volunteering yourself, Captain Morrison. You are exactly the kind of human who could make this partnership work. Jake felt the ground shift beneath his feet. The alien princess was not just asking him to deliver a message to Earth. She was asking him to leave his entire life behind and become part of saving her species. As he looked into her changing eyes, Jake realized that his feelings about this mission were becoming complicated in ways he had never expected. Jake Morrison returned to Earth with his mind full of impossible choices. The Zeltharian offer dominated every news channel and government meeting for weeks. Humanity was divided between those who saw it as a golden opportunity and those who viewed it as a trap. 3 months after his first meeting with Princess Lyra, Jake found himself back on Zelthara Prime. This time he brought representatives from Earth's government and military leaders who wanted to see the alien empire for themselves. Admiral Sandra Hayes commanded Earth's space fleet, and she did not trust the Zeltharians easily. Captain Morrison, your reports are impressive, but I need to see their true capabilities before Earth commits to anything. Princess Lyra welcomed the larger human delegation with the same grace she had shown Jake, but he could see strain in her eyes that had not been there before. The reproductive crisis was getting worse, and political pressure was building within the Zeltharian Empire. Princess, how much time do we have to make this decision? Jake asked her privately. The Council of Elders is losing patience, she admitted. Some of them believe we should simply take what we need from humanity by force. Jake felt a chill run through him. Would they really attack Earth? I hope not, Princess Lyra said. But my people are desperate. Desperate beings sometimes make terrible choices. She led him to a restricted area of the palace where he met Emperor Cain himself. The Zeltharian ruler was ancient even by their standards, with eyes that seemed to hold the weight of millennia. Captain Morrison, the Emperor said in a voice like distant thunder. My daughter tells me you understand the gravity of our situation. I do, Your Majesty, Jake replied. But humanity needs time to consider such a monumental decision. The Emperor's eyes flashed with anger. Time is what we do not have. Every day we delay, more of our people lose hope. Some of my advisors believe we should simply take human colonies by force and extract what we need. Jake kept his voice steady, despite the fear growing in his chest. That would make humanity your enemy forever. Better to have living enemies than to face extinction, the Emperor said coldly. Princess Lyra stepped between them. Father, Captain Morrison has come here in good faith. His people will make the right choice if we give them the chance. After leaving the Emperor's presence, Jake realized the situation was more dangerous than anyone on Earth understood. If humanity refused the Zeltharian offer, they might face invasion by a technologically superior enemy. Admiral Hayes had reached a similar conclusion after touring Zeltharian military facilities. Morrison, their weapons are centuries beyond ours. If they decide to take what they want by force, we could not stop them. That evening, Princess Lyra asked Jake to join her for a private dinner. They sat on a terrace overlooking the capital city as 3 moons rose in the alien sky. I need to tell you something that I have not shared with your government representatives, she said. The moderate faction in our government is losing power. My aunt, General Zara Voss, leads a military group that wants to solve our problem through conquest. Jake set down his drink. How long before they take control? Perhaps 6 months? Princess Lyra said sadly. Unless we can show them that cooperation will work faster than force. She moved closer to him, her eyes shifting from purple to silver in the moonlight. Jake, I have a proposal that could save both our species. What kind of proposal? Marry me, she said simply. Jake nearly fell off his chair. What? A marriage between us would create a powerful symbol of human Zeltharian cooperation. It would give the moderate faction time to prove that partnership works better than conquest. Jake stared at her in shock. Princess, we barely know each other. I have been studying you for 2 years, Jake Morrison, she said softly. I know you better than you realize. You are brave, intelligent, and honorable. You care about others, more than yourself. Those are the qualities our alliance needs. But marriage, Jake said, struggling with the concept. That is a lifetime commitment. For humans, perhaps, Princess Lyra said with a small smile. Zeltharians live for centuries. I am only 90 years old, which makes me quite young by our standards. Jake tried to process this information. You want me to marry someone I just met and commit to living for centuries among aliens? I want you to help me save both our species, she replied. Love can grow between people who respect each other and share common goals. Before Jake could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the palace. Princess Lyra received an urgent message on her communication device. What is happening? Jake asked. General Zara has begun moving her fleet toward human space, Princess Lyra said with fear in her voice. She is forcing the issue. They rushed to the palace command center, where chaos filled the room. Admiral Hayes was already there, demanding answers from Zeltharian officials. Princess Lyra, you need to stop this immediately, Admiral Hayes said angrily. If your military moves against human colonies, it will be considered an act of war. I am trying, Princess Lyra replied, but General Zara commands the loyalty of half our fleet. Emperor Kane appeared on the main screen from his private chambers. General Zara has convinced the Council of Elders that immediate action is necessary. Unless humanity agrees to our terms within 48 hours, she has authorization to secure human colonies by force. Jake felt the weight of two civilizations pressing down on him. In 2 days, the galaxy might explode into a war that humanity could not win. Your Majesty, Jake said, stepping forward. I have a counter-proposal. The Emperor's ancient eyes focused on him. Speak quickly, human. Princess Lyra and I will marry immediately as a symbol of the alliance between our species. In return, you call back General Zara's fleet and give us 6 months to organize a proper volunteer program. Princess Lyra looked at him with surprise and hope. The Emperor considered the proposal for a long moment. You would sacrifice your freedom to prevent war? The Emperor asked. I would choose partnership over conflict, Jake replied. That is what humans do. Admiral Hayes grabbed Jake's arm. Morrison, you cannot make this decision for all of humanity. I am not, Jake said. I am making it for myself. But this marriage will buy us time to find a better solution for everyone. The Emperor nodded slowly. Very well. If you marry my daughter within 24 hours, I will recall General Zara's fleet and grant you 6 months to prove that cooperation can work. As Jake looked at Princess Lyra, he realized his life was about to change in ways he had never imagined. He was about to marry an alien princess to prevent a war between two species. But as he gazed into her shifting eyes, he began to wonder if this impossible marriage might become something more than just a political alliance. Princess Lyra had studied him for years and chosen him specifically. Maybe she saw possibilities that he had not yet considered. Princess Lyra, Jake said formally, will you accept my proposal of marriage? Yes, Captain Morrison, she replied. With tears in her eyes, I will. In 24 hours, Jake Morrison would become the first human to marry into alien royalty. The fate of two civilizations now depended on whether their marriage could bridge the gap between species and create a new future for both humanity and the Zeltharian Empire. The wedding between Jake Morrison and Princess Lyra Voss took place in the Crystal Cathedral of Zelthara Prime. Representatives from both species watched as the first human Zeltharian marriage in history was performed according to both human and Zeltharian traditions. Jake wore a ceremonial uniform that combined human military dress with Zeltharian royal symbols. Princess Lyra was radiant in robes that seemed to be made of liquid starlight. As they exchanged vows, Jake felt the weight of two civilizations watching their every move. I promise to bridge our worlds with understanding and respect, Jake said, as he placed a ring on Princess Lyra's finger. I promise to honor your humanity while sharing my people's wisdom. Princess Lyra replied, as she gave him a Zeltharian bonding crystal that would link their life forces together. Emperor Cain performed the ceremony himself, speaking words in the ancient Zeltharian language that had not been used for centuries. When he pronounced them married, the entire cathedral erupted in celebration from both species. But the real work began immediately after the ceremony. Jake and Princess Lyra had 6 months to prove that cooperation could solve the reproductive crisis better than conquest. General Zara Voss arrived at the palace 3 days after the wedding. She was Princess Lyra's aunt and commanded half the Zeltharian fleet. Jake could see immediately why she was dangerous. Her eyes burned with fanatical determination, and she viewed humans as inferior beings. "So this is the human who thinks he can save our empire," General Zara said, as she examined Jake like a specimen in a laboratory. "General Zara, Captain Morrison has agreed to help us find a peaceful solution," Princess Lyra said firmly. "Peace is a luxury we cannot afford," General Zara replied coldly. "Every day we waste on diplomacy, more of our people lose hope. We should take what we need from human colonies and be done with it." Jake stepped forward. "General, conquest might give you genetic material, but it will not give you willing partners. Forced breeding programs never work in the long term." General Zara's eyes flashed with anger. "You dare lecture me about survival, human?" "I am lecturing you about cooperation," Jake said calmly. "Humans work best when they choose to help, not when they are forced to comply." The confrontation ended without violence, but Jake knew General Zara would be watching for any sign of failure. If the voluntary program did not produce results quickly, she would use it as an excuse to launch her conquest plan. Over the following weeks, Jake and Princess Lyra worked tirelessly to organize the first wave of human volunteers. They traveled to Earth together, where Princess Lyra addressed the United Nations directly. "Honored leaders of humanity," she said to the packed assembly hall, "I stand before you not as a conqueror seeking tribute, but as a partner offering alliance. My marriage to Captain Morrison represents our commitment to treating humans as equals." The response from Earth was mixed. Some nations were eager to access Zeltharian technology and offered volunteers immediately. Others worried about the long-term implications of genetic mixing between species. Dr. Lisa Park led the medical evaluation of potential volunteers. "Jake, we are getting applications from thousands of men, but we need to be careful about selection. This first group will set the example for everything that follows." After careful screening, they selected 50 human volunteers for the initial program. These men were intelligent, adaptable, and genuinely excited about the opportunity to explore alien civilization while helping to save a species. The volunteers were transported to a specially constructed colony world called New Eden. Jake and Princess Lyra designed it to be a perfect blend of human and Zeltharian culture. Human architecture mixed with Zeltharian gardens, and both species worked together to build a new kind of community. Jake was amazed by how quickly the partnerships developed. The Zeltharian females were not just seeking genetic material, they were genuinely interested in learning about human emotions and culture. Many of the relationships that formed seemed to be based on real affection and mutual respect. "Look at them," Princess Lyra said, as they watched humans and Zeltharians working together in the colony gardens. "They are not just creating children, they are creating a new culture." 3 months into the program, the first pregnancies were confirmed. The medical results exceeded everyone's expectations. The hybrid children would carry the best traits of both species, human adaptability and immune strength, combined with Zeltharian longevity and mental abilities. But success brought new challenges. General Zara arrived at New Eden with a fleet of warships, claiming she needed to inspect the colony for security purposes. "Princess Lyra, this experiment has gone on long enough," General Zara announced in front of the entire colony. 50 pregnancies will not save our empire. We need thousands of human males, not dozens. Jake saw the fear in the eyes of the human volunteers. They had come willingly, but now they were surrounded by alien warships and facing demands for their friends and families to join them. General Zara, the program is working exactly as planned, Jake said. We have proven that voluntary cooperation produces better results than force. Better results are not enough, General Zara replied. I am taking control of this colony and expanding the program immediately. Princess Lyra stepped between them. Aunt Zara, you have no authority here. This colony operates under the terms of my marriage agreement. Your marriage was a political stunt, General Zara said with contempt. The Council of Elders has voted to end this experiment and begin immediate extraction of human genetic material. Jake felt the moment that would determine the future of both species arriving. General Zara had the military power to enforce her will, but Jake had something she did not understand, the loyalty of people who had chosen to help rather than being forced to comply. General Zara, Jake said loudly so everyone in the colony could hear. You are making a fundamental mistake about human nature. What mistake is that? She asked with amusement. You think you can take what you want by force and get the same results as voluntary cooperation, but humans fight harder for freedom than they do for anything else. Jake turned to address the human volunteers and their Zeltharian partners. Everyone here came by choice. Everyone here can leave by choice. But if General Zara tries to force this program to continue, she will discover why humans have survived every challenge they have ever faced. The volunteers stepped forward as one group, humans and Zeltharians, together. They were not an army, but they represented something more powerful, the willingness of two species to stand together for what was right. General Zara, Princess Lyra, said with new authority in her voice, you can destroy this colony, but you cannot destroy the idea it represents. These people have shown that cooperation works. If you use force now, you will make enemies of both species forever. For a tense moment, it seemed like General Zara might order her ships to attack. Then Emperor Cain appeared on the colony's communication system. General Zara, you will withdraw your fleet immediately, the Emperor commanded. The marriage alliance has produced exactly what it promised, proof that humans and Zeltharians can work together as equals. Father, 50 pregnancies will not save our empire, General Zara protested. No, the Emperor agreed. But they have shown us how to save it properly. Princess Lyra and Captain Morrison have created a model that can be expanded across the galaxy, not through conquest, but through genuine partnership. General Zara's fleet withdrew, but Jake knew the struggle was not over. There would always be those on both sides who preferred force to cooperation. 6 months later, the new Eden colony had grown to include 500 families from both species. The first hybrid children were born healthy and strong, carrying traits that promised to benefit both civilizations. Jake stood with Princess Lyra on the balcony of their home, watching human and Zeltharian children playing together in the gardens below. Their own child was due in 3 months, and Jake felt a happiness he had never expected to find. Do you regret the choice you made? Princess Lyra asked him. Jake thought about his old life, commanding a starship, exploring unknown worlds, and making first contact with alien species. Then he looked at the thriving community around them, and the woman who had become his true partner in every sense. No regrets, he said as he pulled her close. We have created something that will outlast both our species. Princess Lyra smiled as her eyes shifted to the warm gold color they showed when she was truly happy. The first of many worlds like this one. Jake nodded as he watched the children below. They represented the future that he and Princess Lyra had chosen over war and conquest. It was a future where humans and Zeltharians would explore the galaxy together as true partners, each species contributing their unique strengths to face whatever challenges awaited them among the stars. The alien empire had needed human seed, to survive, and the princess had chosen him. But what they had built together was something neither species could have achieved alone. A new kind of civilization based on cooperation, respect and love that transcended the boundaries between worlds.